This is the infamous elevator story, which took place the spring of 2003 when I was an RA in the 5th floor of Deviney Hall. Now, as you may remember, Deviney Hall is, or was, a 7-story building with about 250 residents. I was on the 5th floor, and for spring break I made the plans to come home to San Antonio and visit my family, so I bought my plane ticket and I made my return flight for Friday night, so I would be getting back into Tallahassee at the afternoon of Friday. My friends Janine and Ashley, who were also RAs at Deviney, had made similar plans to come back on Friday night. Now technically, the building didn't officially open because they closed the buildings. They used to close the buildings during holidays, and what they would do, since it was a key entry building where you had to get a physical key to open the door, they would switch out the locks so that way your key didn't work. But we were planning on coming back Friday night because what we realized was Deviney Hall was unique in that it had a separate door. It had a staff kitchen. There was a staff kitchen with both an internal and an external door, and the RAs had that key. So even if they switched out the core of the central, like the main door's locks, we would still be able to get in with that other key. So I planned on coming back Friday night and using that key, and so did Janine and Ashley. Like I said, they were both RAs, and they were on the floors right below mine. So I was on the 5th floor, then Janine was on the 4th floor, and Ashley was on the 3rd floor. So we just planned on doing that. Well, about a week before spring break, we're in a staff meeting, and our boss tells us that we can't come back until, she just makes a general announcement that we can't come back until Saturday morning, like mid-Saturday morning, because she wasn't going to be back yet. And so technically it was illegal or just not allowed for us to be in the building unless she was there. So the three of us just kind of looking at each other, we already made the arrangements. But we just kind of silently gave each other the looks and just said, well, we won't say anything because we've already bought our plane tickets, so it doesn't really matter. So we just resolved that we would sneak in and not tell anybody. So okay, go home for spring break, come back on Friday. Ashley and I were actually on the same return flight back from Dallas. When we get to the building, Janine's already there. And so together we try the key to the kitchen and it works. So we get into the building, we get to our rooms, put our stuff down, and we meet up again downstairs and go out to go eat. We went to Pizzeria on Tennessee Street. So yeah, Greek food. Then we walked back to the building, probably around, 8, 9 o'clock. Went to our rooms. We're just hanging out in our rooms. Now, remember, we're not supposed to be in the building. So we didn't want to draw attention to ourselves, so we made sure that we didn't turn on any lights. It doesn't really matter because the hallways, the lights are always on, even if the building's closed. But in our bedrooms, we didn't turn on the lights, but we still had our computers on and stuff like that. It wasn't, the light wasn't that noticeable, so we were fine like that. So we're just all chilling in our rooms on our computers and whatnot. We were chatting both on AIM and by walkie-talkies that we had with us. And I have to go to the bathroom. So I leave my room and go down the hallway because we had community-style bathrooms in Deviney Hall, which means that there on each floor there were 2 bathrooms, one on each end of the hallway, and everybody shared. So I went to the bathroom, and when I opened the bathroom door, I realized, shit, the lights are off. The lights are turned off, and I can't turn these lights on because if I do that, about 20% of the window space is going to light up, and people are going to know that somebody's up here. Okay, I could, there's enough light coming in from the street lamps outside that I'm just thinking like, okay, I can do this, fine. So one thing to know when you're looking at Deviney Hall or thinking about Deviney Hall, it's basically a long rectangle, and so my room would have been here in the very middle of the floor, and right in front of my room would be the elevator lobby. And then the hallway extends off to each side, and at the end of the hallway would have been not only the bathrooms, but also a fire door that led down to the stairwell. So, okay, keep that in mind. So I'm going to the bathroom, and I finish, and I'm about to flush the toilet when the fire door right outside the bathroom, you hear it opening and slamming shut like somebody's just walking in onto the floor. And I freeze, and I get this moment of fear because immediately 3 thoughts go through my head. Option A, it's a cop. It's a cop that either noticed something, noticed movement upstairs, or maybe they're just doing a routine check of the building. Doesn't matter. When I flush this toilet, they're going to know that I'm in here, and I'm going to get arrested. Option B, it's a murderer or psychopath or something like that. Maybe we forgot to lock the kitchen downstairs. Maybe whatever it is, we messed up and somebody got into the building, and if I flush this toilet, I'm going to be cornered and I'm going to die here, and get cut up and eviscerated and whatever. Option C, it's a ghost, and when I flush this toilet, they're not going to care. So there's this dilemma, right? And I eventually I backed out of the stall, didn't flush it, very quietly went to the sink and washed my hands very, very quietly and bare minimum. Peeked out the bathroom door, and I don't see anybody there, so I go back to my room. I sneak back to my room. I don't encounter anything on the way back. So, okay, fine. That was probably, maybe 10 o'clock? Fast forward a couple of hours, it's now maybe midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And again, we're all at our computers in our respective rooms. And we're on AIM, we're on the walkie-talkies. And we hear the elevators moving. And of course, it's right outside our doors, right? The elevators start to move by themselves. And each of these elevators has a recall floor. There were 2 elevators, and one would always be on the 7th floor, one would always be on the 1st floor. That way there was one close by wherever you go, or whatever floor you're on. They start moving by themselves. And one of the girls, gets on the walkie and is just like, hey, who's not in their room? I'm here. And everybody else, I'm here. And we're just wondering, who is it? And then the elevator doors start opening and closing, and we hear them because there's this, it's a 7-story building. There's, enough beds for 250 people. But at that moment, there's only 3 people in that entire building. So you can hear everything that goes on. So we're hearing the elevators going up and down and opening and closing, and we're getting scared because now we don't know that we're the only ones in the building. And then we hear the whoops and the hollers and everything. So to make it even worse, you hear throughout the building, you hear whoop, yeah, just things like that. Just those kinds of utterances, not really words or anything. So now we're really scared because now there's people in the building, and we're everybody's on the walkie and everybody's on AIM. Just what's going on? I don't know. And I go to the peephole because my door had a peephole where I could see the elevator lobby. And I don't see anything, but I hear the elevators getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And they stop on my floor, and the doors open. And there's nothing. The doors just open. They're there open for a while, and then they close again and move on to another floor. And I'm listening. I'm trying to see can I hear movement inside that elevator? Can I see shadow or movement or anything to let me know that there's somebody in there? And I don't see anything. So we're thinking okay, maybe somebody's just maybe somebody got into the building and they are downstairs pushing all the buttons and making noise and stuff. Okay, we need to call the cops soon. We need to do something about this. And then we hear the fire door on the 1st floor open and slam. And a few seconds later, the fire door on the 2nd floor opens and slams. And Ashley gets on the walkie and she says, somebody's running downstairs. Somebody is running down my hall downstairs. And, she's scared. Janine's scared. I'm scared. We don't know what's going on. And after a while, the fire door on the 2nd floor opens. You hear it slam, and a few seconds later, you hear it again on the third floor, and Ashley is on the walkie again. She's like, there's people on my floor, there's people on my floor. We're like, shut up. And I can, you know, I'm 2 floors up, but I can hear somebody running through the building. And so Ashley says that there was people running down her hallway, and even Janine's on the walkie saying, you know, like, somebody's running downstairs. Like, all right, guys, like, don't be yelling on the walkies. And so whoever it is, they're running down the hallway, down the 3rd floor. You hear the fire door on the 3rd floor. A few seconds later, you hear the fire door on the 4th floor. And now I can hear people running below me. I can hear people running on the floor below me, and Janine's on the walkie. You know, there's somebody on the floor, there's somebody on the floor. Like, shit. This is scary shit. So I realized the pattern, you know, they're going up the floors. Okay, I can handle this. So I reach into my closet and I get some sort of pole. Like, it wasn't a bat or anything like that, it was just a stick. I'm like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of these people with this stick, right? And so sure enough, like, they get to the end of the 4th floor, you hear the fire door, it slams, and then a few seconds later, I hear the door on my floor open and slam. And now I'm hearing them running down my floor, and so I'm standing there, and I've got my eye on the peephole, so that way as soon as I see them pass by, I will open the door, and I don't even know how many people there are, but I'm just like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of these people, I'm gonna stop them, like, ah! So I'm standing there, I've got my hand on the door, and I've got my eye on the peephole, and I'm just waiting, and they're getting closer, and they're getting closer, and they're getting closer, and they stop right in front of my door. But there's nothing there. So, hoping to take the element of surprise, I open the door and I start, and there's nothing out there. I close the door, I lock it, I step back, scared out of my mind. I get, you know, and I hear on the walkie, you know, Janine's on the walkie, like, Joelle, what? Shut the fuck up, Janine. As soon as I step away from the door, I hear them run again. They continue running down the hallway. I don't even bother opening the door until I don't open the door again until I hear the fire door open and slam at the end of my hallway. And now I hear them on the 6th floor. So they go all the way down the 6th floor, and again, hear them on the fire door, hear them again, and now they're going to the right on the 7th floor. So I get on the walkie and I tell Janine, open your door. She's like, what? Open your door, Janine. So she's like, okay. I open my door and I said, all right, Janine, when I say go, I want you to run to your left as fast as you can. Run as fast as you can to your left and meet me on the stairs. So 1, 2, 3, we're running down the hallway. You know, we both get to the stairs, and by this point, whoever, ghostly runners, they're running, and they're on the other end now. They're on the other end of the floor, the 7th floor. So I see her in the stairwell, and I run down to the 4th floor, and then we both go down to the 3rd floor, and, you know, we get on the walkie, we're like, Ashley, open your door, So we're running, and we get into Ashley's room, we dive into Ashley's room, close the door, lock the door, we even get her dresser, we put her dresser up against the door, and we spent the night there. We spent the night in Ashley's room, you know, just kind of like huddled together for support, and the whole rest of the night, the elevators were going, opening, closing, we were hearing running all throughout the building, we would hear those hollers and the yells and everything like that, throughout the night, and eventually, I don't know, I guess we must have like just dozed off, passed out or whatever. We woke up in the morning and we noticed that our boss's car is there now. So like, we get dressed, you know, very, very quietly. We're sneaking around the building and stuff. We get dressed, we sneak out through a side exit, go get breakfast, come back later, you know, to officially get back, and so she sees us and stuff. She doesn't remark on the fact that none of us have any luggage or anything with us. We just go up to our rooms and just whatever. But it was just kind of interesting because before this happened, Janine used to always call me and complain and say, like, your guys are running upstairs, tell your guys to be quiet, my girls are trying to study and this and that. And I would always tell her, like, there's nothing, you guys need to calm your jets already, like, it's okay, nobody's running, chill out. Well, now we know. It wasn't us, but there were people running probably. So it explained a couple of things, but never have I experienced anything else in that building like that. But that was a very, very creepy, scary night. So, yeah, that is the infamous elevator story. The story of, like, the probably the most definitive example that I have of weird and ghostly things that happened when I was in college. But hope you enjoyed.